And here we go.
All right.
All right, and we're live. Welcome to Beyond Clarity, Part 2, Full Moon Werewolf Energy Edition with IMC Xoltes. We had a very awesome live stream about a month ago, and man, we were tapped in. It's long overdue, and Xoltes pretty much spoke the whole time, and he mentioned something about full moon energy, something that I've been feeling a lot lately, and I've been kind of skeptical, but it's something I've been looking into with apps like the Pattern and CoStar, and sometimes pretty girls talking about it. It helps. But Xoltes, like werewolves recognize werewolves, I think, and that's one reason why I feel connected with you, brother. And thank you for taking the time to do what Jagged AZD wants us to do, and that's be part of the 300 and be messengers of men and the right men, and get the right message out there and help out our fellow brother. We got some very powerful men on here. We got Sir Kenneth Francis Simmons and Lieutenant Guerrero, and I'm sure some more brothers are going to be jumping on here, but I'm not sure how much of a drive you have, but I'll give you the mic right now. Anything you can tell us about full moon werewolf energy or anything, brother, the mic is yours. Os.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I started my magical process in around 2018. I started tracking a lot of moon patterns, and I would track my daily activities and journaling my state of mind and anything I would do. And I would see the patterns when it came to the moon and how it would affect me. And so I noticed on certain moon phases, I will feel a certain way, I will act a certain way. And I noticed the moon would affect me a lot. And I started doing this for at least 2 years till I noticed a consistent pattern when it came to the moon and myself. And this has propelled me to like deep in my magical journey, and know like a lot of things are not random. A lot of things we're connected to the universe, as above, so below. So like, we're not an entity of our own. We're completely connected to everything, to universal consciousness, and the movement of the planets, the moon, the stars, all affect us. But specifically, the moon has a lot of control over our emotions, our state of mind, and it has to do a lot with magic as well. So tracking these patterns, I really saw the importance of certain things that you should do and should not do, depending on the moon. And studying this, I realized that I started buying a farmer's almanac. You could buy that at like Barnes and Noble, sometimes a grocery store, and they track the moon as well there, and they tell you the right times and the right day to like plant certain seeds or flowers or crops, just because of that. And so this is old wisdom that farmers in the United States will use to grow their crops. And so in this day and age, we're so disconnected, and all we need is our phone just to, we're plugged into Facebook, Instagram so much that we're not looking up and tracking the stars anymore. You know what I mean? So that's part of the AZD process as well, to commune with nature. We don't look up anymore. You know what I mean? sit down and look at the stars before, you know, back in the day where there was no, you know, light pollution like it is today. Everything was visible, you know. All they did was look at the stars, and they'll make predictions and calendars based on that. So yeah, man, yeah, it's very important process, not only for the collective but for yourself, because the moon affects everyone differently. You know what I mean? And yeah, so this is appropriate title: How to Survive a Full Moon. And
yeah, definitely. The Farmer's Almanac thing, I heard about that, and it's crazy that you say that. I actually had a former IMC Nation member. I'll give him a shout out, Monkey King, even though he's not with us anymore, unfortunately. That was another disappointing one. What up, Monkey King? Have you ever watched this? He made my symbol, my TK symbol, during a moon phase. And I guess he was tapping into the energy and using that. And I've had a female friend give me this necklace that has like every stone in it represents a chakra, and it's got some like copper wire in it, and I guess you can like energize it under the moon. Well, I want to know, like, what could we do this weekend, or is there something that you're willing to share that we can like kind of focus on or concentrate, or give us a reference? Did he freeze, or is that my end?
sorry, it got disconnected a little bit.
I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
his end. I'm not sure.
So
But what's the last thing you heard me say, Zoltes?
Hello. Hello.
what would you recommend us do this weekend?
Yeah,
Is that
like
it?
we got a full moon. I should know this, but my a tribe that I did a music event with last summer has this full moon in June event in the same location where we did our festival, and there was so much energy, so much positivity, and I want to bring that like tonight and this weekend. But like, what can I do? Like, what can I focus on myself, or besides like communing with nature? One thing I'm doing right now is I'm tapping into a tree. I got my feet in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For a lot of people, usually they like to do rituals on a full moon. That's like everyone's rule of thumb. It's not necessarily for everyone. Some people shouldn't. It depends on your process. Depends on how you've been tracking the full moon. But it's a good time to express emotions, not to others, not communication to others, but release a lot of emotional burdens, and you could reflect and speak and tap into the moon energy, and that it absorbs all of that. It absorbs all that type of energy. It's a good time to do a lot of introspection. I remember when I started doing phase one, and I went in the woods. It was a full moon, and I was doing that, and I was just, if you just connect with nature, you know, around the trees, and ground yourself and release emotion. You can speak out loud and just kind of like talk, express like frustrations. That will, yeah, it will collect all of that. But specifically for phase one was very key for me. The full moon was very key for me in phase one. And that's where I tapped into Xoltes fully. And I would recommend on each full moon that you you dedicate it to phase one, because phase one is a process of the heart, and that all is related to the moon as well, because you're letting go of emotional baggage, you're letting go of chaotic energy, and you're bringing a new phase into your life. It's also said you don't want to start something new when the moon is about to, the phase of the moon is about to end. You want to start something when there's some, like a new moon, you know? You don't want to do it when the moon is just becoming new, because that means that whatever you start is not going to last long. You know, there's a lot of science and wisdom just based on the moon. And when I started on the new moon, that was a sign that this is something that I'm going to do the rest of my life. You know, something that it was like a rebirth. And yeah, it's I would, for you phase one guys, I would do the process. Just do the old school process of phase one on a new moon. That'll be your, because phase one is daily rituals. Is daily rituals. It's a repetitive routine that we do, but it is considered a ritual. And because you're tapping into an energy. When you do a ritual, your energy is supposed to feel different after the ritual. You're not supposed to be the same. And phase one, it changes you a little bit every time if you continuously do it. It's not a phase that you just go about the motions. It's not just like this drawn out routine. There's something that has to happen internally in you that changes every time. If you use phase one with tracking the moon, you will notice a difference each time. And I highly recommend it, because if you think about it in that way, phase one will highly benefit.
That's really good. that helps me out a lot, actually, because I'm doing month 2 of Origins. I'm doing back-to-back months, and I really caught myself slipping. That's one reason why I somehow, well, not by accident, manifested a line of credit where I was able to come out there to San Jose and do a beast camp a couple of months ago, where I actually saw Lieutenant Guerrero's private moment, and I got my money's worth right there. But AZD could tell, we've been going through some things, and he wants us to qualify to do the advanced beast camps, where I actually was able to now make a payment for to get into the chosen now. But I caught myself slipping because I wasn't doing beast phase one. Like for the longest time, even like when I was in boot camp in the military, by the end of it, I got really good. Like I was a slow learner, it took me a little while, but at the end I was good. And one thing that our TI said, was our military training instructor said, is like, he was giving us percentages of who would slip off, because if you stop doing it, it's so easy. Like I remember, like I'd get gains working out, lifting weights. I'd miss a week, and it seemed like it'd take me months to get back into it. Diet, like I ended up eating a bag of chips before this. I got pretty sleepy, so I had to do like a cold shower to wake myself up. But had I not known, the cold shower, the deep breathing, beasting, feeling tired because I'm not used to working out, and then going to work out, and then just feeling like woken up again, meditating, stoicism, journaling, everything that's on our coat of arms here. I got the wolf right there, is going to allow us, like it's going to open us to tap in. I'm getting chills right now, to that moon energy, because it's like, oh man, I'm feeling it now. It's like it's waiting for us. In a meditation retreat that I did, they called it integration, where you had to do things for a few weeks. You had to stay away from things, certain food, alcohol, sugar, caffeine, sugar and caffeine are kind of my two things right now that I'm working on, and I can tell just like blockages. Um, but then when I meditate, I think I'm tired and I need a nap, and I do some deep breathing or I take a cold shower. I work out, and it's like I'm ready, man. I'm open for a sign or some next level, something I'm not even expecting, this weekend, and I'm definitely gonna be tapping into the full moon.
Yeah. 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 For anyone that's off the process, best time to start is as a full moon. Best time. Because you're gonna continue. You're gonna continue after that. And if you do it at a later time, then especially when the moon is ending, this you're gonna come out to a lot of pitfalls. And when you track the moon in the process, you start at the full moon, then you notice a slight change is a waning crescent or a waxing crescent. Then it's a crescent moon or half moon. You notice a pattern when it comes to you and your process. You notice when you miss your wake up, you notice there's a similarity in the moon. You can start predicting the challenges you're gonna have. You can start predicting when you don't want to work out anymore. You can start predicting just based on the moon. I'm telling you. And it's the same thing with magical rituals, the same thing with phase one. Because it is like a ritual. Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, I started out of my first process was at phase one, was at the full moon. And that was life changing. I was literally
Yeah,
like,
was that when you moved to California? Because I remember hearing you were like living in a tent at one of the bases. Was that then when you're out in the woods, or?
no, I was in New York. I was in New York.
Okay, you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was in I believe in 2021. It was the summertime, and it was already, I think, the Saturday of the phase one camp, and I was just inspired. I was inspired, and I was like, I just wanted to spend the midnight in the woods, and because I was already like, I would do a lot of walks before that at midnight, because I wanted to have time to myself and think and reflect. And I really like walking especially at midnight, and just I like the changing of the worlds when it comes to midnight. There's something about midnight and just being by yourself and walking. That's very different. And I wanted to have that experience. It felt like the stars aligned. It was like, I'm doing phase one, and I remember I got rid of my bed. There was so much clutter underneath the bed. That's like, fuck. It was just representative of all the chaos that I was just gonna get rid of, and I'd just been hiding, in comfort and stuff. I got rid of my bed and I started sleeping on the floor. Everyone thought I was crazy. And still do. It was like, why are you still sleeping on the floor? Oh yeah, it's just, and just that, and listening to everyone's stories and everyone's experience of phase one. And so I really wanted to tap in, or continue tapping in phase one, like how I usually do at midnight. But I wanted to do it in the woods because I knew it was something connected to nature. I knew it was a full moon, and I remember it was pitch black in the woods, and there was deer in there was animals in there, and I couldn't see. I would see stuff around, but it was pitch black, and all I could see is the light of the full moon. And that's when I started meditating there, and I was just tapping in and connecting myself to the moon. And I remembered that meditation that I learned to tap into something similar to the beast. And so I started making these connections, and I was curious. And that's when I really tapped into Xoltes, and I felt a strong connection to the moon. And there was like a lot of like anger being released, and emotional baggage being released. And that was like the full that was like a full release of a lot of burdens that I had. And yeah, it was a powerful session. I highly recommend you guys do the same. Highly recommend.
I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I remember being like going, not even as a kid, a fond memory was my base, Camp Landing in Florida, one of the largest bases in the world, big Army base. We had a small Air Force squadron. Well, I ended up getting like somehow locked out of the gate where I couldn't drive my car out. So I had to walk down this country road that was pitch black to get back to my dorm, the barracks. And I'm looking for glowing eyes looking at me. And I was scared. I don't want to admit this. Like, I was in my mid-30s. I was scared. But I wasn't on the process. I wasn't meditating. And to think like you, being in the process and like opening up, and that's where like animals come in. They feel the vibration and other beings around us. I believe it's true. And then it's like they give you signs and signals where it's like, yes,
Yeah.
you are now Xoltes.
Yeah.
And I know there's going to be a lot around me. Maybe I think tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for a late night walk by myself and just be open to it and just bring in the energy. Like, I remember another time I went for a walk. We were at some like training base before our deployment, and I forgot my necklace. And I thought I needed it because it was a full moon. I was going to energize it. And I was like, wait a minute. I can energize myself taking the full moon energy in. And I was doing that, and I shared it with one of the guys, and he's like, yeah, some old lady was asking the farmers about planting their crops during a moon phase, and they think she's batshit crazy. And I'm like, you're batshit crazy for not knowing that. I believe it now, especially coming from you, like IMC Nation.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, if you think your zodiac sign, maps up who you are as a character, the moon is the closest thing to us, and it controls so much in our lives. It's more important than your zodiac sign, your sun sign, your rising sign. If you keep track of the moon, it's like now you're creating a relationship with it. It's like you're creating like this communication with it, and you just, now everything you do is like, now you're becoming aware of the moon in regards of everything you do, a job you start, an argument that you had, a workout that you did, a ritual that you did, something you wrote, or something, or you're just feeling down or feeling really excited. Now that you're having this relationship with the moon, and it's the closest, astrology calls it, planet to us, and we just tend to ignore it, and it's so connected to phase one and the AZD process that it's something that I wish a lot of other brothers knew about and could apply. What do you have here?
Yeah. I just had a quick check something. So when I was looking at I don't know, the pattern or co-star, I haven't looked at that in a while. I also follow Moon Omens. They're on YouTube and Instagram. Like, I'm a Leo, and I like check out my horoscope, and then it would show moon phases, and I'm like, what? There's more, and I'd always blow it off.
Yeah.
But now, just what you said, I'm definitely gonna pay attention to that. I'm gonna do a little reading tonight, just so I can
Yeah.
like get my mindsets and see what I should focus on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Especially at midnight. Once the moon is on midnight, definitely it's the best time to speak out, and you could speak your truth. You could release emotions, frustrations, and the best time to do that, especially in an eclipse, full moon eclipse. That's very symbolic. Is a symbolic for something, a new time that's happening. Symbolic for a lot of things, and usually before an eclipse, you want to get rid of old stuff before the eclipse ends. That way you can start like a new phase. And a lot of, the world celebrates New Year's, and most of the morning, but the moon is like the most accurate calendars are based on the moon. It's the best we have when it comes to predicting ourselves and events. Yeah. There's I haven't tested it out, but they say that if you're born, let's say you're born if you're born in a crescent moon, you vibe with other people that are born in a crescent moon. Right?
What's
If
a
you're
crescent
born-
moon?
It's a moon that's like it's like smiling almost. It's just showing us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Holy shit, dude! I never thought of that.
yeah. It's so you vibe with people that were born with the same moon pattern as you, because it's so accurate, especially if it's the same moon sign. And yeah, man, it's and if if you want to talk about that, the werewolf energy is so important in regards to the moon. Too important. Before, the moon used to be a lot closer to Earth, and werewolves are actually real, but they were here way before humans, and you can imagine the moon, like you could almost touch it at that time. And you can see how much the moon would affect how it affect the werewolves, and that time is slowly dwindling away, but is kind of like interbreeded with humans. But yeah, when it came to the moon, will draw out so much of that emotional energy that it's just naturally, someone could transform into a werewolf. But there are rituals that can make a person into a werewolf if they already have that in their DNA, like a full transformation. And
I'm interested, but that's for our paid, our next paid part 3. If you're down, Zoltes.
that part I've never seen or heard of or done that ritual. I just heard it from Frank White, that he's seen an actual werewolf transform in front of him. It was done
Wow.
through a group ritual, and yeah, they're definitely real. They're for sure
That makes sense. I almost did during a group ritual at my first meditation retreat. The female shaman host said that, and I don't remember, but I remember seeing an angry wolf inside of my chest, just like raging while I guess
Yeah.
that's what I look like on the table. And it's funny that you mentioned that because one of the guys that was there just messaged me not too long ago. I haven't heard from him in a while. And then Kenny Simmons posted a picture of a wolf that was like almost this is the exact same vision I had on his Instagram. It's my screen. I'll share that and be on Clarity after. So it's like we're all connected, and it wouldn't surprise me if all four of us were born on the same moon phase or whatever it is. I don't know. It's just super interesting, and there's so much to learn. Like I wouldn't want to necessarily turn into a werewolf unless I absolutely had to, like life or death situation. But if I wanted to transmute that energy into something to level up, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's werewolf mode.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely you want to tap into that energy on the new moon, because it'll bring that out. It'll bring it into something useful. It's because we just carry too much baggage, and the full moon is perfect. It's perfect because it's emotions are connected to water, and the moon is connected to water. You know, and so when you have that connection with the moon, that water element and the emotions are just wanting to come out. And doing that during phase one, oh my god, oh my god, I'm telling you, I've never, like I said, I believe in phase one for a reason, because I've been practicing magic for before I found phase one for like I say 3 years already, and that was accurately tracking the moon and doing rituals and doing all kinds of stuff. And with doing the AZD process, it took everything to the next level, because I knew that symbol was a sigil. I knew that it's a magical sigil. I knew that phase one, that morning routine was a ritual. I knew what it was supposed to do based on my experience with magic. So that's why I was like, okay, this is they're onto something. The beast, the routine, and is a test of the heart. And so I knew I had to do it connect phase one to the moon. And it was very successful. Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, we can keep going or we can close it out here and save more for next time. But I'm definitely going to apply that. I'm glad that I've been getting more on the phase one process, because I did catch myself slacking. But I'm looking forward to what this full moon brings. And I'm definitely going to share it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's called origins for a reason. You want to start when the moon is originating, not when it's ending. So, yeah, so take all that in consideration, and on your beast journal, when you write the day and time, just put the moon phase there.
Oh man, okay.
Put the moon phase on your journal, and you'll start seeing the patterns. You start seeing the patterns. You have to be consistent in tracking. Yeah. You have to, physically write it down. Today is Friday, June the 2nd, and today's moon pattern is waxing crescent. And you could give the percentage if you want to be accurate. You could download an app. There's like a moon tracker app that can tell you everything of the moon pattern, and you could just write it down, and then do your journaling, and you'll start noticing what you write, because you start becoming conscious of what you write, and you start noticing like, wow, every time the moon's this phase, this is the shit I'm writing, and this is what I'm expressing. I highly recommend on a full moon, after you tap into phase one, You know, if it's too dark, if you're in the woods, don't do it, but journal under the full moon, especially under the light of the, all that will start coming out. You'll start pouring out your emotions on pen and paper, and letting all that shit go. Because that's the stuff that stops us, you know. That's you gotta empty your cup, you know. And, you know, he says be water, but we are water. Our emotions are water. We gotta empty it. Empty your mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, does anyone have any questions here? Questions, comments? If not, we could close it up here. Man, just keeps getting better, Xoltes. I look forward to your own IMC show here soon. Moon phases, because it seems like we could just go on forever about this. Seriously, and I'd be one of your number one students. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's super key, and it's a process of consistency. You know? Process of consistency, tracking, and just being aware. And that's when you start discovering, when you start letting go of stuff, you start discovering who you are. Start, you know, what AZD's new thing of be silent and know that I am God. You know, you start figuring out who you are, because even Jesus himself said, "You are gods." You know, it's when you let go of the ego, the devil, whatever it is, you start recognizing that you just are. You are infinite consciousness. You are you are something amazing. That's and you have this little stupid voice that's trying to diminish it. No, when you start being aware of that, getting rid of emotions, getting rid of these, what are these thoughts that I'm thinking, you know, and getting rid of that, you start noticing that you're something quite incredible, and the moon will help you realize it, help you pull that out.
Hell yeah, man. We can definitely end it on that. I'm gonna be watching the replay here tonight, actually, and I'm gonna be taking notes, writing in my journal. And wow, this is a gift, brother. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Yeah.
So anyone that wants to follow Xoltes, connect with them, I'm gonna put your Instagram once again in the description here, and they can reach out to you if you want to be our guest for AZD's open midday gospel lecture. He had one this last earlier today at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Reach out to one of us. This is what we do. So it just keeps getting better. And remember, show up for yourself, show up for others. Keep showing up.